Hello, my name is Kamila Stępień-Kutera and I welcome you warmly in our competition studio. Today my very special guest is Mr. Dmitri Alexeev, one of the jury members.
Hello.
Today I would like to ask you a little bit about the trap of originality and individuality, because very often we are looking in the performances something very special, something original, but on the other hand we have the text and the composer's intention. Where is the border between being a slave of the text and being original and exaggerated?
Yes, it's such a question. This is such a question. It's really impossible to answer, at least in 5-10 minutes, really. You have to write, I don't know, volumes of books about it and talk endlessly, because it's really very difficult, very difficult. Sometimes people have originality, individuality, but something is not quite right. So or sometimes people play very correctly, very accurately, everything is fine, but it may be not that interesting. So where is the border? Nobody can say. I cannot say and nobody can say. The only criteria, I guess, is really the talent. If pianist is really, really talented, so first of all, if he has a real talent, it will be original, it will be individual anyway. If he's really talented, he will find his own way to music which is well known and played thousands of times, and he still will find his own special way. There is no, my opinion, there is no recipe for doing that, and everybody doing it in his or her own way. So it's really very elusive question, very, very tricky. The only thing I can mention that in any way, pianist is an interpreter, he's a performer. So he should be faithful to composer's idea, which can be understood in a very different way, of course. But sometimes I feel, yes, it's very unusual, it's very, maybe even very strange, but yes, I probably would accept it. Probably Chopin would accept it. Sometimes I feel, no, it is not what is acceptable for Chopin. It's difficult to explain with, with exact, precise words, but it's really internal feeling, and sometimes these feelings are very strong.
Because our audience, for example, the online audience, is trying to judge, of course, and all the people who are watching us have their own opinions about all the performers. I wonder, is there only the question of feeling, because sometimes feelings are very different, or maybe the experience you have is also helpful to judge what is near Chopin, what is too much original?
Of course, of course. Well, first of all, everybody has his or her own opinion, and they have a right to do. I mean, that's why they listen to music. Of course, they like it or they like it less. But we are here, all the members of the jury, because, well, we're more experienced and more professional. And it helps, it really helps. And I'm not sure that I would do it when I was young, really young. No, it would be difficult, impossible. I'm sure it wouldn't be the same like I'm doing here.
And another useful tool is to know some expectations connected with pieces of Chopin. For example, we have some expectations connected with ballads, for example, or polonaises. They have to have their own features.
Obviously, I mean, the Polonaise, it's genre, it's a special rhythm, it's special character. And Chopin Polonaises are very different from one, I mean, all of them are very, very different. Still, they have very much in common. Rhythm and character and the feeling of, say, this national dance, which is more than dance, it's real character. Yes, I mean, when we hear people playing, for example, Polonaise or waltzes or mazurkas, of course we expect something. But again, there is not one way of doing it. It can be very, very different. Endless variety of doing mazurka and waltzes and Polonaise and ballads. The thing is as how convincing it is. Mm-hmm. And again, if I hear something very talented, so which convinced me, so it's really the most important thing.
During the second stage, we are listening to many, I think, very difficult pieces, because these are rather big pieces, narrative pieces. Especially difficult seems to me the Fantasy F minor, Opus 49. I don't know if you can agree with me. Is there any way of understanding the fantasy, which performance is good or which is bad? Because it is very hard to build the whole of this piece.
Yes, that's true, I agree. And generally I would say Chopin has few pieces, quite a few pieces, which still, to me at least, sounds very enigmatic, very mysterious. Fantasy is one of them. Another is Polonaise fantasy, maybe even more mysterious, more enigmatic, and even more difficult to build complete structure out of a few episodes. Again, there is no recipe to do it. But every performer who playing these pieces should have in mind this character and this structure. Talking about ballads, it is something, this music is something in the border of music and poetry. So the pianist who played should be a poet, I dare to say, or at least have some idea about the poetry. I don't mean the words exactly, the text, whatever. It could be Mickiewicz or something else, but the feeling of poetic feelings, really.
There is no program, but there is a story, something above words, I suppose.
Yes, yeah, they say there is some program, they say some story. It could be one story or another. In music it doesn't matter so much. But what does matter is atmosphere, feeling, and this, character and really poetry in music.
We have just touched very important problems, and we just try to explain some questions connected with interpretation of Chopin's music. I hope that it will be some important indications for our audience. But now our time is over, and we have to come back to the concert hall and to the rest of participants. Thank you.